Hello, this is High Templar with another Total War Warhammer DLC analysis, and today we'll be going through the last of the streams before the King and the Warlord DLCs, the Belegar Hammer campaign. So most of this we already know in less detail, but let's go into the nitty and gritty. So the Belegar Hammer is powerful offensive melee fighter, neither obviously is a siege attacker, which is interesting, so he can go and assault any place without sieging it before, so that's very useful. Has Ancestral Grudge to recapture character peaks, and has early access to the Rangers through Rangered Outpost, which is not that good. I will cover that in a moment. He actually has unique building chain, character peaks, nothing. He starts with 4 Clan Angrut Ancestor heroes, so these are extremely powerful ghost heroes that will accompany him and are the source of his power. In the last stream, if you've seen the stream or if you watched my video about the Skyhammer campaign, you would see that Clan Angrum was actually #1 power, and this is something you should get used to because of these heroes. And because this is a penalty, upkeep penalty of plus 50% before you capture card apex. Well, if AI controls Clan Angrund, AI doesn't have this bit, so he can recruit units normally, no upkeep penalty. So he can get very large armies very fast, and with those 4 very powerful and very scary resistant heroes, he can get pretty much anything, and I will show you an example shortly. So yeah, be careful of this guy if you are playing against him. When you are playing him, well, this will be quite hard campaign, I believe. So like I said, starting with those heroes, you can see them right here, and with this we already know that he has unit buildings upkeep plus 50%, we all know that. This is his skill tree, and this is there are few things that are very different from him. Firstly is Tactical Acumen, which is actually a skill that increased missile damage for only ranger units, plus 10%, plus 15 I believe, and plus 25 max. So plus 25 missile damage is big, especially if you can boost it further through some technologies. So yeah, then we have Mountaineering, which is also decreasing upkick for the ranger unit at maximum level 3 by minus 50%. This is another skill that is only for him, and he has this ability that he can use every 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Lasting for 25 seconds, all the allies within 45 meters, plus 36 melee defense and expert charge defense, which is very powerful ability. For that long, plus 36 melee defense and expert charge defense, that is actually huge if used correctly. Then we have some trees for one of those heroes, and you can see here upkeep minus 100%. Yes, that means those ethereal heroes that are following him cast you nothing in upkeep. So that is huge. That is huge. Here are some buildings that are available for this guy, and this is Ranger Outpost that I've mentioned before. Normal dwarves will just get this building, and they can recruit all 3 ranger units from this building. Now this guy gets rangers at level 1 building basically. However, this building is not that spectacular, it's actually pretty bad, because those rangers are very weak missile infantry, only good if you are actually investing in their skills, in the skills for your lord and similar, but after you do, they are better than Quellerers. So yeah, these are the buildings that you are actually getting in the Karakizor when you are starting the game, and these are, for example, Bagman Rangers, which I shown before, but let's just see that insane upkeep on 188. 80 guys armor, and those guys actually have regeneration, which is showed here. This is liquid fortification, so they are basically drinking. Yeah, never mind that. Let's not dwell into it how they are getting, but they are getting replenishment of hit points and minus 30% accuracy. So yeah, there are some backdraws of that. And we are starting with Karakis Gore, and as you can see, the rest of it is controlled by orcs. And these are these ancestral heroes in close-up, and they look awesome, if you can say so myself. This is actually also obvious introduction for the White Dwarf, who is actually eternal. He's actually also a ghost, and he will be legendary lord for the dwarves. That was already revealed, and actually in this stream they sleep. But I covered this in previous videos, so I won't go into details on that note. Also, all those heroes actually starting already on level 5. So yeah, actually very, very powerful indeed. As you can see, level 5. Upkeep 0, and yeah. What can you tell about this guy? Those guys are pretty good. And they do cleanse corruption, assassinate, block magic, and what's not. And here you can see insane upkeep costs for the units that are available for Clan Underground, like normal warriors 168. That's pretty outrageous. And some technology like rat poison. Rat poison actually something that someone pointed out. But this is just there are no ratmen here. No Skaven incoming. Just reduction in vampiring and chaos corruption and income from gold mines, iron mines and stone quarries. Nothing big here, move on. Volley fire also affect now rangers, so that was upgraded obviously. And this is actually very powerful. By the level, turn 2 you are getting this grudge, and you know that it's very bad if you don't complete it, but if you do complete it, look at that. Units experience gain per turn 100 for all forces. For all forces, not like Vlad who has big bonus, I know, but only for the army he leads, but for all forces. Leadership plus 10 versus all greenskins, plus 4 public order, and plus 5 lord recruit rank. Huge bonus, and you should really press for it. And this is army with all those guys in the glory about to attack the greenskins, and new entrench ability is being shown here. So yeah, that's something to be aware of. The campaign victory condition is actually obviously calling Caracal Peaks, having no grudges in the Great Book of Grudges, and unite the following dwarf halls through the leadership of vassals, and obviously there is everything here. Also destroy greenskins and crooked moon, so pretty normal. No empire, no Britannia. And destroy chaos warriors, war herd of chaos, and Archeon ever chosen must be wounded. Finally, I want to show you this siege battle. Now mind you, what are the armies of the Belegar? So they do have 3 units less, because 2 units less, because those guys also have 6 units inside the greenskins have 6 units in a garrison. And this is, I mean, they are not great, but this is like a decent garrison. Look at this auto-resolve. Just look at it. Those heroes make auto-resolve broken. They are very easy to... Actually, not only auto-resolve, in the battle it's pretty much the same. You just make them to tank most of the damage and kill them. Kill the enemies, and that's it. Nothing there's to it. Some dwarves on the battlefield being deployed here for the greenskins, and some interesting landscaping. And yeah, some stats on this guy. I will show you the stats in more detail later, but you can see only 25 armor, only 2300 health. This is like 3/3 of normal health. but very powerful melee weapon strength, armor piercing obviously, and missile damage, huge missile damage. So yeah, this guy is awesome, and the rest of them is actually also pretty good. Belegar Hammer himself, huge armor, he's offensive, so 60, 50 attack and defense, weapon strength, pretty normal. You've seen the skills that this guy have, he's pretty expensive and for a good reason. Then we have, then I will review Regiments of Renowned because new units we already know, but we can also review their costs of the new units, and we will as we go. So Erkalund Miners, there's our miners with blasting charges, armored, armor piercing, special range weapon, and good against gates. We all know that. However, those guys are very costly. They cost 200 more, but they have 3 ammo, so they can throw those blasting charges a lot. They have bonus charge, melee attack, defense, and leadership. Quite substantial bonuses, I would say, making them way more powerful than the Dwarf Warriors, so it actually makes sense to get them, maybe, especially because of the Frenzy. Frenzy was now upgraded, so as you can see, plus 12% for weapon damage, plus 8 melee attack, plus 8% physical charge, and immune to psychology. And this is only working when your leadership is over 50%, but as you can see, the Frenzy is more powerful, and those guys might be a viable option. Might be, I'm not sure, they are expensive, needs to be tested. They are armor piercing, so maybe. Then we have Warriors of the Dragonfire Pass. Those guys, as you can see, also very nice stats on them. They do deal fire damage, they are anti-infantry, and they have charge defense against large force as normal. Guys, 700 costs, but with those stats they are pretty much holding similar position as the Longbeards. I would say they are actually better, and they are worth to take in the multiplayer battle, especially for the anti-infantry and for fire damage. If you want to use against any units fire damage, then they are the way to go, especially when you take in Slayers, which I will talk about in a moment. Then we have the Grumbling Guards, Longbeards with great weapons. Those guys also rocks. They cost 1000, but they do have enormous leadership, attack and defense because rank 9. But they also have the Old Grumbles, which affects all allies in the area of 45 meters, plus 30% for vigor. That's huge. That will make your guys drop like 2 ranks of fatigue, basically. So yeah, then we have Dragonback Slayers. Those guys are Slayers, obviously, but they do have some. Let's compare them. They only have plus 12 melee attack, so this is not as impressive as other units. They do cost only 250 more, but look at that. They actually have fire resistance, and they do put flammable on the enemy units. So this is actually for 10 seconds, but if you are engaged, this is pretty much always minus 25% of flame resistance and minus 36%. So they work very well with those previous Dragon Pass warriors that are actually dealing fire damage, or with normal Iron Drakes also works, right? Then we have Norgrim Ironbreakers, and those guys are absolutely awesome. Yes, they do cost 250 more, but there is 12 more of them, and their stats, look at their stats. I mean, this is, I don't know, rank 9, normal rank 9, but they do get plus leadership, plus melee attack of 11 and defense of 15. So yeah, those guys actually are not breaking anytime soon and will stand for everything, and with the additional men and additional health, they will be amazing. And yeah, next we get the most expensive infantry unit in a game and the most powerful also, Belegar Guards. These are the hammerers. They have additional leadership, attack and defense, obviously, which makes them very powerful, but they cost 400 more. Are they worth it? But they actually do magical damage, and at the same time they do thunder armor, which decreased armor by 32%. They are armor piercing, so that helps them somewhat, but if you make their line very wide and attack with some other units that are not non-armor piercing, this might be a very powerful ability if used correctly. And they will single-handedly kill the Regiments of Renowned Black Orcs, so there's also that. Then we have our Rangers with Great Weapon Regiments of Renown. As you can see, those guys Rangers cost only 500, so less than the Quarrelers. They are not better than Quarrelers, but if you buff them correctly, they are. And then Rangers with Great Weapon 650 if you haven't caught that before. So these guys cost only 100 more, and they do have much larger stats, although slightly slower. But they also do have a hex with 150 meters range, giving reducing armor, missile parry and magical resistance of a target. For 41 seconds is quite a lot, so those guys are pretty powerful. And we also have Scolder Guard. These are the Iron Drakes that actually deal steam armor piercing damage. Slightly less range and less damage, but this is armor piercing damage, and this is actually splash damage. So those guys will be excellent against heavy armored infantry, especially heavy armored infantry like Greatswords who stick together. Less powerful against Black Orcs who are very more loose formation, and very bad against the new Black Orcs who have even looser formation, but very good indeed against tightly packed heavy armored units. Goblober is artillery piece. It costs only 100 more, has melee attack, defense and leadership increase, so you don't really... So that's not interesting, that's not why you pick Grudge Thrower. However, this is amazing. This is actually discourage ability. If you hit your enemy, it reduces his leadership by 16. So if you use that combined with some other tools, like a Gyro Bomber I will show in a moment, you can make unit rout in seconds. A very powerful tool. And you can make those units keep routing. Finally we have Skyhammer Gyro Bomber, which costs only 200 more. Has more leadership, melee attack and defense, which you actually might use. But those guys do have lots of ammo, so remains to be seen. Missile damage, however, quite huge. Could be useful. And those guys have the ability Skyhammer Bomb, which is powerful explosion, light strike area and strong versus multiple combatants. Those guys basically have more powerful bombs, but only 5 of them. So large strike area is something that we would like to see. And yeah, those guys are quite powerful, but it remains to be seen whether they are worth it. I generally don't like Gyro Bombers. Maybe I will use this one, but yeah, I'm not sure. Needs to be seen, basically. Then we have a Rune Lord. We have seen him already. I showed you his abilities previously. But just for the completeness, high armor, high leadership, melee attack and defense, low weapon strength, pretty much what you would expect for the support lord. He has a special rune which I showed before. He also can mount Anvil of Doom, which is very interesting indeed. So you can see that on the Anvil of Doom he actually has leadership plus 10, melee defense plus 7 but speed minus 2, and some additional charge bonus plus 2, not really great deal. But his health is increased all the way to 5,000 basically. So that's huge, and this guy is actually starting to be very interesting. Also he has a rune of Stoicism which just gives him Unbreakable. This is also very useful. If he has so much health and so much armor, his Unbreakableness will give you ability to cast those runes on and on. Very good indeed. Finally, let's compare some normal engineer to those ethereal engineers. As you can see, less health by 1/3 and much less armor. Yes, those guys only have 25 armor, but they do have 80% versus damage, and they are slightly better at fighting and magical damage also. Bolt thrower only 550. We knew that this is the least expensive piece of artillery. It's not, range is not great, damage is not great, but it is armor piercing, and this is told to be very accurate, so we can shoot down those dragons and manticores. Finally, I wanted to show you the screen that shows all the multiplayer factions, because we are getting Clan Angrod, Crooked Moon, and the Bloody Hands. So yeah, pretty useful. And some screenshots for the Peak Guards. I'm sorry for the quality of those images, but unfortunately, those guys are... the stream looks very fine, but when I make a screenshot, it just blurs out, guys. And these are these longbirds with great weapons that are looking amazing, and some Skull Guard, Iron Drakes shooting steam, and Dragonback Slayers, and some Grudge Throwers showing those. This is Goblobber ammo, and you can see those Night Goblins strapped to the rocks, and Grum Miners also. And Wurzak, who is actually on his special mount, the Painted Boar, which is amazing. And also the Rune Lord on the Anvil of Doom. And we also seen ability that looks actually very interesting. This is Wurzak ability. The animation is very cool because you've seen these pins that pinpoint the unit. And you can see here, cannot move. And this is strong versus multiple combatants, cause damage to combatants. So it pins the unit and it deals damage to a unit. So pretty useful skill, to say at least. And finally we have some data from the battle itself. We can see that the Gyro Bomber did 100 kills, which is great, and the Goblobber deal 94, which is also very nice, and it also dealing this additional leadership damage is very great. The Iron Drakes did absolutely amazing. The Rangers with great weapons not so much. The Iron Breakers did amazing as well. And those guys did not very well, but that's because most of them were killed by artillery, by the enemy artillery. Those guys had this special Goblin Rock Lobber and also Doom Diver, and those guys were focusing the most powerful unit of infantry, so that's pretty obvious. And yeah, that is it. I hope you like it. If you did, press like, comment if you will, and see my other videos in Total War Warhammer, my DLC analysis and speculation videos, my mechanics videos, but also my Let's Plays in Total War series and other games. Thank you for watching, and see you later.